Right, moving on, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be embarking on a two-day visit to Nepal this week. He is likely to announce 3 separate surprise gifts for Kathmandu, Janakpur and Muktinath temple. He'll visit Hindu temples and reach out to the people of Nepal. As close neighbors, India and Nepal share a unique relationship of friendship and cooperation, characterized by open borders and deep-rooted people-to-people contacts. WION Sibyl reports from Kathmandu.
Nepal is all set to welcome the Indian Prime Minister, who will be on the two-day visit to the country from 11th to 12th of May. He will be visiting 3 cities, Janakpur, Kathmandu and Muktinath. He will be jointly inaugurating the Arun 3 project along with the Nepal's Prime Minister. The Arun 3 project is the biggest infrastructure and hydroelectric power project in Nepal.
The Indian Prime Minister will depart from Patna on an Indian Air Force helicopter and land at Janakpur's Baharbika. He will address a public rally in Janakpur, which is said to be linked to Indian tourism's Ramayan circuit. Modi will arrive in Kathmandu after completing his official engagements in Janakpur. Prime Minister Modi will be accorded a ceremonial welcome at Tundikhel in Kathmandu before he meets with Prime Minister KP Oli for delegation-level talks. Prime Ministers Oli and Modi will lay the foundation of Arun 3 hydroelectricity project through video conferencing. In Mustang, the Indian Prime Minister will visit Muktinath, which is a sacred place for both Hindus and Buddhists. Within Hinduism, it is called Mukti Kshetra, which literally means the place of liberation or moksha. This temple is considered to be the 106th among the available 108 Divya Desams considered sacred by the Sri Vaishnava sect.
The Prime Minister of India is leveraging diplomacy with faith. He, along with the Prime Minister of Nepal, will be jointly inaugurating a bus service from Janakpur, which is the birthplace of Goddess Sita, towards Ayodhya. And Janakpur will be part of the Ramayana circuit. Of course, the Prime Minister of Nepal will be receiving the Indian Prime Minister at the Janki temple in Janakpur, while the Defence Minister will be receiving the Indian Prime Minister when he arrives here in Nepal.
Oli's visit was seen as an attempt to repair Nepal's ties with India. In 2016, Oli had publicly criticized India for allegedly interfering in Nepal's internal matters and accused it of toppling his government. India is Nepal's largest trading partner and the largest source of foreign investments, besides providing transit for almost the entire third country trade of Nepal. India accounts for over 2/3 of Nepal's merchandise trade, about 1/3 of trade and services, 46% of foreign direct investments, almost 100% of petroleum supplies, and a significant share of inward remittance on account of pensioners and workers.
Well, India-Nepal ties have been a roti-beti ka rishta. The relationship has been a special one, and the Indian Prime Minister would like to make it more special with this visit. This is the 3rd visit of the Indian Prime Minister. He first came to Nepal on a bilateral visit. Then he went to SAARC for another visit, and he came here in Nepal. And finally, this visit is happening. Big focus will be on how the Indian Prime Minister tries to build new bonds between New Delhi and Kathmandu. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Sibyl from Kathmandu.
And Sibyl joins me live from Kathmandu now. Good evening, Siddhant. You've been traveling across Nepal for the last couple of days. What's the mood like in Kathmandu on the eve of Prime Minister Modi's visit, and what might be some of the biggest takeaways from his talks there?
Well, the mood is enthusiastic. If you go around the streets of Kathmandu, the flags are up, the Indian flag and the Nepali flag. And this is, of course, the 3rd visit of the Indian Prime Minister. His visit starts tomorrow. He lands in Janakpur and then comes to Kathmandu and then Muktinath. And the focus will be faith diplomacy, because in all these 3 cities, he will be visiting a temple. In Janakpur, he will be visiting the Janki Devi temple, and along with the Prime Minister of Nepal, they will be flagging off a bus service connecting Janakpur to Ayodhya. In Kathmandu, he will be visiting Pashupatinath, his 2nd visit. Remember, in 2014, he visited Nepal, his first bilateral visit, and he visited Pashupatinath. So, a 2nd visit, and then, of course, Muktinath is on the cards. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. He will be making press statements, and of course the main deliverables is infrastructure, connectivity and agriculture. The first agriculture ministers meet between Nepal agriculture minister and of course the Indian agriculture minister will take place. That will be announced. On connectivity front, a lot of things are going to happen. An inland waterway through Kosi River is expected to be announced. Other than that, India will be building a railway line from Kathmandu to Rexall. That will connect Kathmandu Valley with the rest of the Indian railway network, and you can actually travel from Delhi to Kathmandu via a railway. And of course, other than that, the focus is on infrastructure, because the Indian Prime Minister and the Nepalese Prime Minister will be through video conferencing inaugurating the Arun 3 project. That of course is the largest infrastructure project, hydropower project here in Nepal. The 3 C's of the Prime Minister of India, cooperation, connectivity and culture, can be seen and will be seen during his entire 2-day visit, and later he will be attending civic reception both here in Kathmandu and in Janakpur. So clearly a lot of things are lined up. It's a packed schedule, 2-day schedule, and a lot of deliverables are expected, and it's a follow-up visit of the Indian Prime Minister, because the visit comes just 1 month after Nepal's Prime Minister came to India. So a lot of things are happening, and of course that will help increase India and Nepal ties. But China obviously remains an issue, because there are anxieties in New Delhi of growing Chinese influence in Kathmandu. We spoke to the foreign minister, who said that this is the perception, and Nepal wants to pursue an independent foreign policy. So a lot of things are happening. China is something it's an elephant when it comes to the relationship between India and Nepal. But other than that, a lot of other things like flood issue will be discussed. Remember, before this entire thing, the Prime Minister of Nepal had a meeting with the former Prime Ministers of Nepal and discussed this important visit.
Right. Siddhant Sibbal in Kathmandu, thank you so much for joining me on WION Dispatch. Appreciate it.